We are live. Welcome everybody to the Captain Ball Fanatic Channel member live stream. Tonight we are honored Garrett from Smoke in the Woods and Sheldon is here to have a big discussion with me and y'all. And Big Rooster showed up. How you doing, Big Rooster? We're gonna have a discussion about just about everything. If you know the truth, we did this once before on 11 Bang Bang, and we didn't shut up for like 2.5 hours. So what? And then I know we'll get some questions. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Tell us how it's going, and everybody knows Garrett a little bit, but why don't you go ahead and get us started?
You first, Sheldon.
We go by age.
Oh, okay, I thought it was beauty.
Age before beauty, is that what it is?
Age before beauty, I guess. Okay. All right, well, I'm Garrett, originally from 11 Bang Bang. Did a lot of work over there for a lot of years, not necessarily working on that channel so much anymore. I'm on Smoke in the Woods, and I'm just happy to be here. I love having conversations about old stuff. So that's me.
I'm Sheldon. I don't do YouTube. If you see videos on my YouTube channel, I made those a long time ago. And I just kind of fell in with Garrett and Duke at some point.
Sheldon don't let him fool you. He's head of research for about 90% of what YouTube channels do.
Oh, is that right?
He does a lot of research. He does a lot of research.
Well, I've heard you talk before, Sheldon, and it sounds like you've done a lot of research because you sort of know what's going on. So that's great. Well, I want to get started while people come in. We've got Louisiana Gray just showed up. We'll let some folks get in here. I was telling you, hey, Rock McLaughlin just checked in. Hey, Rock, one of our members. I was telling you guys before we came on that one of the things I'm asking everybody who's a guest is that how'd you fall in love with this stuff? How did it happen to you? Because there's a certain, if you watch you on your channels, Garrett, and talk to you, and same with Sheldon, there's a spark of passion there that you don't see all the time, and so I think folks would love to know where that comes from and how that happened, and for both of you.
You want to go first, Sheldon?
Sure, since you went last time.
Because once I start talking, I don't shut up. Steve,
this time it's beauty before age, right? Is that what we're doing?
So I got into the black powder firearms when I was telling Jay when I was 16 or 17, I think 17, and I was watching Mike Bellevue and Hickok 45, and they were talking about it. I know Mike Bellevue never mentioned it, but I know how do you call it? I think Hickok did, but said you can buy these black powder firearms. When you're 18, you don't have to be 21, and maybe I grew up with firearms, so I knew firearm safety and all that. But when I found out, I was like, that's cool. I need one. So I got first one I got is a 51 Navy Torpedo. I still have it. It just went through a whole different barrel because when I got it, I was loading it full of Pyrodex and then later 777, like chambers full, and I just ovaled out the rubber hole. But so yeah, that's how I got into black powder firearms, and then from there just fell into reading into the history and watching westerns just because hey, look, I got that gun.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that these days the old westerns are back on television on these different cable channels, that you can watch. I was watching Tales of Wells Fargo last night. I don't even remember that show, but Dale Robertson was on it. It's pretty cool. So go ahead, Garrett. How'd you find it?
Going back to the before the dawn of time explanation, as Paul Harrell used to say, when I was very small, grew up in a pastor's home, didn't have TV, didn't even have a TV screen when I was really young. My grandma and my uncle would bring over this, this was back when, a 13-inch screen was, that was pretty big screen.
Yeah.
And they'd bring this little old TV over and set it up. And I remember that first time I remember watching a movie probably was Wizard of Oz, and that scared me. And they left the TV there that night, and Grandma had this stack of videotapes. And one of them was, this was back when, VCR was a big thing. And one of them was the complete original series of Davy Crockett. And I know you've heard this a million times, King of the Wild Frontier, but not the movies, the actual TV shows with all the segments and everything. And I was just a little kid. I figured out how to put that in, and I remember just being a little kid being glued to that little TV on the floor all the way through. And I knew my dad had a couple of guns. He had and my grandpa shot and my uncle shot Thompson Center, Hawkins, and all kinds of stuff. It was very much in the family. But my dad, as I was growing up, he had two guns. He had a single shot 12 gauge, and he had a Marlin Model 60, which is a tube fed 22.
Mm-hmm.
And I never wanted to shoot the shotgun when he would take us out to shoot or something. I wanted the Marlin Model 60 because I felt like I was running a muzzleloader. I wanted it so bad. When I turned, 10, I think I bought my first true muzzleloader with mowing money. My mom helped me and my brother go together. We bought an inline when they were brand new. Looking back, I was like, well, it's a muzzleloader. So an inline 50 caliber. And we bought that the first year after we saved our mowing money. The second year we saved our mowing money, I bought a Remington New Model Army. And I was about 11 then. And first off, my mom and dad, or my dad would help me go shoot it and everything. And then as I got older, it just became working around the farm, working on the ranch, carry a pistol. That was the one I carried for many, many years. And sure. I was always more into the muzzleloading rifle side, surprisingly, but my history around my area is always more 1860s and 70s. And I always think it's funny because you do so much stuff with like the plains cap and ball stuff, up where you're at. And I'm down here on the plains trying to find every shade tree so that I can make a video in the forest. So.
Exactly. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yep. So that's where I came from. Just like everybody else. I've often told people if it wasn't for Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, and probably later on Jeremiah Johnson, who knows where this hobby would be, black powder anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah Johnson had an effect on the whole hobby, right? The whole thing. I talked to some of the old timers at our club who've been there since the late 60s, shooting and involved. And they say, it was Jeremiah Johnson and the bicentennial, in 76, which I remember distinctly. I was a freshman or sophomore in college when that happened. And then Last of the Mohicans, it sort of gave us as I look back and think about it, sort of gave us the cultural moment that led to this whole thing we're now consumed by.
So what did you start with? Did you shoot a muzzle-loaded rifle first or a cap and ball?
I did. So my grandfather had a muzzle-loading rifle. Couldn't even tell you what it was. And I shot that. He actually started me shooting his 12 gauge when I was about 9 or 10 years old, which used to knock me over backwards, and he'd get a kind of a laugh out of that, which tells you the kind of family I came from. At least that side of it. And then so I shot his muzzleloader for a while, but I quickly moved away from all of this because I was a baseball player, so I was going to be a superstar, and so I spent most of my youth and on through college playing baseball perpetually, and I played all the way through college and had some fun and played in the summers, and when everybody else was going to spring break, I was running off to play in some league somewhere. But it was, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, I've got a lot of good friends all over the country for all of that. And then I was pursuing my career. So once that got done, then we bought this farm back in the late 90s. And I started, friends of mine had some cap and ball revolvers, and I went to visit them, and they showed these to me. I thought that was really cool, but I don't think I understood all that was going on. And then I was telling Sheldon, I read a book about this guy by Joe Rosa. He's put out several, and I became a Joe Rosa fan reading books on this guy. And and read all about his nickel-plated armies. So I went to Cabela's a couple days later, and there was a silver army, or a Navy, 51 Navy. And I thought, I got to have that. So I think I bought that, and I think I bought 2 of them, actually, as I recall. Then I had to figure out where the supplies were going to come from, because this was right in the middle of the cap shortage.
Yeah.
But, here's the good thing about having former students. I went on Facebook and said, I need some percussion caps. And some guy wrote me and said, I got a 10 of them, former students. So I drove down and got them. And it just sort of went from there. What always sort of, for me, and I'll stop, whatever's always sort of run alongside this is a love of the history, right? The Old West history. I've always been fascinated with sort of the gold rush to the Civil War era, the migration west and all that. It's always been fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a teacher in high school. I may have told you this, that he's now a Pulitzer Prize winning historian in the Civil War. And he was my high school history teacher, and he just lit us all on fire for history, that era, those eras. And so
Wow.
I think he created more historical lovers with his, because he was one of those passionate people, and he still is. I still run across him on C-SPAN every once in a while, and he's doing lectures.
Wow.
Yeah, he's.
That's what I feel like is missing, and it's came along a little bit since YouTube, but people who don't treat it like numbers in a book,
Right.
People who are animated about it, people who are excited about it, and it doesn't happen for me, not with everything do I get that excited about, but when I find a story about, a Colt revolver or a trapdoor Springfield or something that just, especially there's certain ones that, and I was told this last week, when you tell that story, you light up. It's like, yeah, because when I tell that story, my mind's firing on all cylinders because I'm picturing it, and a lot of people try to put this all, and kids hate it in school because it's all force fed to them as a bunch of dates. There's so much more to it than the dates. What happened in the dates, I'm always been, even when I was younger, I was more of a hands-on learner. Like I wouldn't have been excited about history if I couldn't have gone to, say, Fort Larned or some places around Kansas where I could see, touch, feel, if somebody had told me you have to learn such and such and such, which they did obviously in school, but if that was all of it, I wouldn't be interested one little bit.
Well, see, he used to take us every year. He'd take a huge crowd of students to Antietam and Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Right. You'd go for like 10 days, and you'd stay, and half the time you'd camp out and you walked the grounds, and somebody was there to explain what went on where you were standing. And so, you've done all that. You can almost feel like you can see them or feel them.
Mm-hmm.
I had that experience when I was at Custer's battlefield, the Greasy Grass battlefield, year or so, where I spent a day there, and it felt like I could hear what was going on for a while there. It's eerie.
I think we've all been there now, and I will say this. I tell people this a lot now. A lot of people have opinions of Little Bighorn. If you haven't walked it, it's really hard to have a true opinion of it.
I agree.
And I know Sheldon, he's walked it several times, and I have a couple times now. But, man, it is. You can hear it in the grass, can't you?
Yes, you can.
You can hear it in the grass.
I just remember. Go ahead, Sheldon.
I was going to say, I want to go up there next week because it's the 150th anniversary of the battle.
Oh, yeah.
And it's supposed to be really big because all the Lakota tribes and I think the Cheyenne tribes, the Arapahoes, they're all going to do a big thing up there.
That would be so cool.
It would be cool, and it falls on my days off, so it's like I could. But the night before, I got a concert to go to. I'm going to go see that musician, Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, yeah.
This young feller up here has to go to the concert before he can go to the historical.
And it's Weird Al, though. That doesn't make any sense. The last I will say about that, the one place I remember is I was at the very top of Last Stand Hill, okay, sort of. And there I was standing on the sidewalk, and in front of me was where the horse grave was, if you're familiar where it was. And behind me, there was grave markers all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, this Last Stand Hill's right in front of you. And it struck me. I looked at my wife and said, right where we're standing, look around you at all that was going on here. Imagine what this place looked and smelled and sounded like for 5 or 10 minutes, however long that went on. Because there were bodies dropped. If you assuming some of the markers are accurate, there was stuff going on, or close to accurate, anyways. There was stuff going on where that was right in the middle of it, and I didn't realize that they were really surrounded.
Yeah.
Because I've had people say to me, "Why didn't they just run?" Well, go to the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this ravine that goes around them.
Yeah.
There's about 400 Indians coming out of the ravine on the backside of them.
That's exactly on the backside, right? On the other side of that hill. So, but anyways, let me, we got a couple people here. Let me see so John Turner said it was the early 70s for him. I think there's a lot of guys like that. Louisiana Gray got into black powders during the late 70s, early 80s, doing the Civil War reenactment. He grew up on a plantation, which is kind of cool. Now that gives you some history there. I think this isn't guest pass. I mistake that 5 for a S. Said Double J got me into it. And JG Six Gun loves Tales of the Wells Fargo. I'd never heard of it, but it's kind of good, I admit. They had a gunfight yesterday, guys, and there was 4 guys shooting at 4 other guys, and they shot for 10 straight minutes and never reloaded.
That's the best version of the story, right?
Exactly.
I have people complaining about it all the time. I said, what fun would the show be if they're all sitting around reloading all the time?
Right.
Or they shoot cap and ball and they got to throw their guns at them or use them as a club.
I do. I watched that. What was that? One-Eyed Jacks the other day, Marlon Brando, which I watched a few times, which a lot of the clothing and everything isn't right. I love the scene at the very first because they portray the firearms and the clothing for the Vaquero era early on very well. But when he pulls out, get your rifle, and he pulls out the most beautiful, like it's a sporterized trapdoor, but it is not your average, like it's a full-length Woodstock. It's made to look like a Kentucky-style rifle. And he starts holding the federales off of Mexico off that hill with that trapdoor. I was like, I love it. But one of my favorite scenes is in the end where they have the one Ben Johnson's about to gun down his one buddy, and he take all the bullets out, and so that Mexican's so mad he just draws his pistol, looks at it, just throws it at Ben Johnson, and then gets gunned down.
Well, the last I will say about that is I forgot when I was young, I was a big Rifleman fan. And I'd forgotten how much of a Rifleman fan I was until it's back on TV now, and I can actually watch him in that machine gun that he carried.
Man.
And that thing never runs out of ammo either, by the way, which is good.
You know, I have figured out when I was young, like I said, I would have to go to my grandma's, but she had all the Westerns on TV, and everything. I'd go over there. Well, my uncle gave me a Red Ryder. And for the life of me, I thought Lucas McCain was the strongest man in the world to be able to take that. Because my lever action, I had to set it on the ground. Grew up on the lever to get it. I thought, man, he's one tough hombre. He can just take that thing and spin it like that,
And he spins it around on his finger. I keep thinking of that John Wayne from Stagecoach, where he takes the big thing and spins it around with one hand. And I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, I had to learn how to do it, and I eventually did. You had to cock the Red Ryder first. Then you can do it. But no, I just remember thinking that when I was a little man, Lucas McCain is a man if he can cock that gun as quick as he does in that movie.
That's exactly right. So it is fascinating, though, to me how we fall into this thing, and like anything else in life, some of us get hooked on this, and some of us get hooked on other parts of it. I'm a reader of. I've always had this real fascination with what life was really like back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read a lot of first-person accounts and diaries and journals, and especially on the wagon, the Oregon Trail and the going back and forth, and it's just captivating to me. And like somebody said on a show I was watching, that era captivates all of us. We're just glad we don't live there. and there's probably there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
Like like today when I was hiking, I was digging wild turnips. They call them team silas.
Mm-hmm.
and they grow, up and down the plains. Well, my fiance and I, we were digging, and we're kind of just talking about how they used to do it, like way back in the day, and it would be, usually a mom or grandma would find a plant, hand it to the kid, hand it to their kids, go find more of these and just send them off.
Yeah.
Because they are really hard to find.
Yeah, luckily we're not going through the starving times. The thing is, I think a lot of us, especially those of us that have been in this for quite a while you guys included, we could survive it if we had to go back. But and I, I'll probably miss the air conditioner stuff, but Sheldon and I have spent extended periods of time without electricity doing events and stuff. We can get by. The one thing that I think we would all miss is the collection of knowledge. The ability to learn the next thing, because that's, for me, that's always the next thing, and obviously you were probably doing this before the internet, studying the history and stuff. Well, it's easier with the internet, but imagine if you had to ride 5-10 miles to town to even buy a book, and then maybe you buy a book a year. Right. And that book's not going to be on, and we're not definitely shooting 60, 70 shots out of our cap and ball revolvers every week. I think the monotony of it would be something we wouldn't, any of us, be able to take.
Absolutely.
I think that's why the tribes, decided to go screw around with the other tribes, because they got bored.
Go to war, huh? That's
nothing else to do. Let's go to war, right? Louisiana Gray makes a good point. He says, okay, oh yeah, how about toilet paper?
Eat some prairie grass and make it really soft.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just like we have my nieces and nephews. There's sometimes we have to go without air conditioners or something. I said, and a lot of my younger nieces and nephews have grown up real country, real rural lifestyle without like air conditioners and stuff. And they talk about getting one, and I said, if you never got one, you won't miss it.
Well, I had somebody the other day say that, we were watching, I don't remember what I was watching, and something about the hygiene and the breath and and I said, back then we would have all been the same. So we've only gotten used to the norms we have now, which makes somebody who doesn't shower or take care of themselves, clean up, stand out. But back then, it just is what it is, right? And
I feel like that's overplayed a little bit too, because no matter where you go in history, people are people, and they don't like to stink and be dirty.
That's exactly right. And you read about Hickok, and he's rumored to have bathed and washed his hair every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure that folks they don't like to stink and feel terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in an Eastern European country back in the 90s for about 6 weeks without any electricity.
Wow.
It would pop on every couple, 3 days. And so I figured out that I could do that. Because you had to get your food every day and those kinds of things are unperishable. But I think that you're right. I think that the travel would be something to get from here to there. You got to go through the whole process of saddling up or gearing up to go. That would, of course, if that's what you did, it's what you did. But but going back from here, that would be difficult.
It would.
You wouldn't go very far.
No. What I don't get, guys, I'm sorry, but I've been in like y'all. I've been in horses my whole life, or my whole adult life, and I don't get how these guys rode 100 miles and still stood up. Because I go for a 25-mile trail ride, and I'm crippled for like 3 days. So that's amazing to me.
Well, there was a time in my life when I rode every day, and I don't do it as much anymore. But there was a time, ranching and everything, like I farm and ranch for a living. There was a time up until about 8-10 years ago where it was literally still the same old way for a lot of it. We had a lot of acres, we had ride horse, we gather that way. Well, in about the last 10 years, four-wheelers have finally taken over, and I don't ride as much as I used to. What I realized was when I was riding every day, I could put 20, 30 miles on it because we drive cattle long way out from Oklahoma up into Kansas, and we'd take them out of there for pasture usually the day after Thanksgiving, and bring them back up to feed grounds, and then the day after Easter, we'd take them from feed grounds and drive them way back down to Oklahoma. That ride was never that hard on me back then. I got where I was riding like once a month or less, and I did that one year. I about died.
Well, I think that's the difference. Is when I go for this 25-mile trail ride, it's one weekend a year. You know what I mean, or twice a year. So it's ouch.
It was the thing I was talking with one of my coworkers, and we're talking about like old cowboys and whatnot. How they get bow legs.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like, we were thinking about it like, we never seen a picture of like a native with bow legs until I was reading that book, that War Party in Blue, and it shows old Pawnee Scout. That guy has some bow legs. I think he probably would have gained about 5 inches if his legs didn't bow out.
When I was growing up, there was, and another thing that always strikes me is people, talk about how short your lifespan would be or whatever. It's like, when I was growing up, there were 100-year-old cowboys here who'd been around since, 1900.
Yeah.
1910. And most of those people lived a pretty good life. Of course, they didn't inhale the junk we inhale or eat or a lot of things we do today. But I remember this one old cowboy, which we had the barn, we had the corral, and the place we were working, they'd have dinner up at the house. And the house was maybe 100 yards up the hill. And we'd been on the ground working calves, and this guy had to have been 90, and he was still doing it. He was a good friend of mine. And I remember they said, they ring the bell, go to the house for dinner. He catches his horse and starts saddling it. And I said, what are you doing? He said, it's time to go to dinner. I said, it's like 100 yards up the hill. He said, I don't walk. And he didn't walk. If the horse was available, he would ride it 100 yards if he had to saddle it.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no. And he was old enough, he had to lead the horse around to the fence of the trailer to get on.
Sure.
But he would do that. He'd been doing it since 1905 or 6 or whatever it was, and ever since he was 2 or 3 years old. And he legitimately, I remember when he got way up in his 90s, he lived to be 107, but he'd still go on jogs when he was like 99. That's just the kind of guy he was. But he didn't, that's why I thought it was funny. He wouldn't walk, but he jogged. So But I remember I walked in his garage one day and he had this block and tackle pulley set up. What is that? And I didn't know what it was. This is the craziest chain block and tackle setup. Well, he had this horse named Thunder that was so tall when he was getting hunched, he couldn't throw the saddle on him. So he would bring Thunder into the garage, hook his saddle horn and tree to that block and tackle it up to the top of the garage, lead Thunder under it, and then let the saddle back down.
So I saw a video of that one time. I don't know if it was him or somebody else. And I thought, there's a time when I get old, I got to figure that out. Right?
Yeah. No kidding. And people don't realize the saddles they rode in the 1800s, that was a whole different animal too. I spent maybe 2 hours in a McClellan-style saddle. That's enough.
Ouch. Yeah. Ouch. When I go for those long rides, I want to sneak a saddle pad. You know what I mean? Like a fluffy pad, but everybody I'm riding with is going, that's to be shamed. That's to be shamed over. So.
Yep. Nope. And today we measure our saddles and they're padded and they're very nice saddles. And back then it wasn't like that.
Like I was looking at how to make like old Indian style saddles, and they were like those old wood frame pack saddles, I guess, to compare them to. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a guy in Kansas, Ken Widener or something. He makes them, or he used to, I'm not sure, but he has like saddle tree frames, to make them with. And I'm like reading how they used to do it, it's just like they kind of guessed how it's gonna fit, and all horses are different, so I don't think, like, especially with a lot of the tribes, unless it was their favorite horse, if the horse got sore, like, they just kind of didn't care.
Right. Well, I think that's the other thing that a lot of us, I know I would, the way I treat my herd is back then, and where you're from, Garrett and guys, horses are like your car, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're a commodity. And so you use them until it, like with a truck, you use it until it falls apart, and then you get rid of it and you find another truck, right? Because you're making your money, you're earning your living, you're getting your food, whatever it is you're doing on that thing. Where mine are pets. I mean,
exactly.
Mine have names, and if they look a little too sweaty, I take the saddle off and let them go rest.
Yeah.
I think it's more me wanting to go rest, but nonetheless.
Taking care of your horses is like the main thing to do, because you start treating them bad, they recognize that they ain't gonna like you.
Yeah,
right. And I have mostly mules, so if they don't like you, you're not getting anywhere near them. So
I've always been interested, and I don't think I've even discussed this with you, Sheldon, but I've thought about it over time. Man, equestrian lifestyle in your world, in your historic lifestyle, has to be totally different when there's no round pins. There's no, when I was little, I had this book called, obviously it was some real Farby book called Tatanka, but it was about, it was a fictionalized story of Comanche, the last, they've probably, I think when they made that cartoon Spirit, they copied it a little bit, but way back when it was an actual kid's book, and they talked about how he spent days just learning to get up to this horse, and then days getting on it, and then breaking it in the water with no saddle, no anything, just getting it to water, getting it to mud. And I thought, man, that must have been for every warrior to have several horses, or you talk about a herd of ponies. That had been a lot of time spent just working with horses.
Well, I think it depends on the tribe. Like I know the Comanches, the one I read was like a George Catlin description. Mm-hmm. They just choked them out. They just choked them into submission. And once they listened, they listened. If they behaved worse, they choked them out again.
Well, we have a thing
back then. It was kind of the thing of, okay, this horse don't want to listen. You can, I hate to say it, you can kill it, go steal another one. Mm-hmm. And that's just how that's how they block people, especially Comanches. That's like how they operated. And then I think in the Half-Breed book, George Bent, or it's in his actual autobiography, he mentions how the Cheyennes did it, and he said the Cheyennes just tied them up to a brood mare, like if it was like a wild horse or one that's a little unruly.
I think that's in Half-Breed.
Yeah. They just tie the back of a brood mare and just kind of like let her calm them down. And then like with my tribe, the one I read was the one that you're mentioning. You just take them to like water or like a little swampy area, get on top of them and let them try to buck, and then the basically the vacuum of the mud would keep their legs down, tire them out quicker.
Tire them out so that they figure out they can't do that.
And today that would be considered totally taboo, because today we join up and start. We don't break.
That's right. And today, if you did that and anybody found it, you'd be in big trouble. Especially if there was a boarding stable somewhere near you that people were driving to and from.
I remember this one fella. He was back when we were doing the pageantry shows. He was trying to break this horse to gunshots, and he rode this. He's telling me he's 20 years older than me. He was a weekend warrior cowboy. Had the fanciest blue trailer you ever seen, tied to the fanciest Ford blue pickup you ever seen. He had this young 2-year-old, and he was riding him around. He said, "I'm going to break him to gun." So I assumed you're going to put him in a round pen, start with a 22, and some blanks, and start maybe cracking a whip first, and then move up. No, he said, "I'm going to do it like they did it in the old days." How are you going to do that? He heads down the river into this, what was almost quicksand, gets that horse bogged in, draws his 45, boom, 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 starts shooting the water around the horse. That horse kicked around and bucked around a little bit. And then he started laughing and yee-hawing. "Well, I got him gun broke." Well, he didn't. And that horse came out of the water. No quicker did he hit the bank. Yeah. Earl went in the water, and the horse went back to the barn. And that was the last time I seen somebody try to water train a horse. And I thought that was just because that horse walked out of that water just calm as could be. And as soon as he was on the shore, wham, off the
Well, I was telling Sheldon I wanted to do that cowboy mounted shooting. You shoot the balloons.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that, and I had one of my favorite. I had a mule for 25 years. We did everything together. I figured she was the one because we had a thing. no gun training for her, man. I got on her. It was the whip is as far as I got. Right,
Yep.
right. And she wasn't coming anywhere near me. So it's like, all right, we'll do something else.
I started with cotton balls, and when I was the youngest guy, they always give me the goofy horse to do the living hit. And I had this black mare they called Baby Doll. Well, I called her that. They called her something else. And she would just, as soon as the shooting started in that big pageantry show, you just hung on and hoped you stopped her before we got to
Right.
the slick rocks on the far side of the arena. And she was just like that. And I've seen a lot of things, but she would get goofy if she had anything around her head. And we did finally get her broke down, but I did it with my very, very slowly with my Remington with a new model Army, starting out with just caps. I didn't even use a 22. And slowly 10 grains, 20 grains of powder, and then just taking her out whenever we would shoot and tying her way off in the distance and then moving her closer, like if we shoot 100 shots or something, and it did work. But I'll just never forget when that guy thought he was going to gun break that horse in the river in 6 shots.
Well, I'm gonna do a video this summer on muleback. I'm gonna tack her up and see if I can reload my cap and ball revolver walking and trotting down the road or around in my. It'll be in an arena, but I want to see. I've read some of the historical, the sort of the Army manuals, from the Civil War era, and I want to see if I can actually do it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try it with loose powder and.
I can do it with a capper. Now, here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize you can do it easier.
That's the thing, capper without a capper.
Yeah. You can do it at a gallop, not hard. Doing it at a trot, that's a whole different game.
Oh yeah.
So if you got a capper, it's not that bad, and paper cartridges. But man, I can't do it without a capper.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna put the cap box on and see if I can figure out how to do that and watch everybody on video laugh at me. That'll be my comedy video for the month.
I've heard
video.
I've heard that Colt in their paper cartridge bundles that they sent to the military would put 7 or 8 caps in with every 6 shots because they just knew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Drop some.
Well, Carbon Spider says you guys are funny. I would walk 15 to 20 miles just to drink a beer.
Like I was telling Jay, I found the horse I bought like 7 years ago. She escaped like 4 years ago. Finally, catch glimpses of her here and there. Me and my fiance, we finally saw that horse today. She has a whole little herd with her now.
They do multiply.
Yeah,
multiply quick. And the thing is, when I got her, she was gun broke. Like actually gun broke. Like I could stand near her and shoot my 45 Uberti Cattleman. She just can't. She got ready when she heard the clicks, but she didn't take off. She didn't run. She didn't do nothing. She just like took a shot, and she kind of just looks in the direction he shot. Like, where is it? Like, because one of the guys I bought her from said they used her for hunting.
Wow.
And that was the purpose, was for her was to be like basically the template. I don't know what else word to use, but to teach other horses to get used to guns. Because the one thing I was reading, especially with I read a snippet of how the Army used to do it. They had a horse that was already gun broke. So when they remained calm, the other horses would try to copy it. Like, unless this one's taken off, one of them's calm, the other ones could be calm. Not good, but.
See, and when I've read some of these first-person accounts, I've sort of found out that there was more horse accidents around guns than the movies or TV or even normal history would ever tell you. That.
Oh yeah,
it sounds to me like that. I couldn't imagine that it wasn't. But I can't imagine the horse's behavior when, say, Little Bighorn, when it's just everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just. Yeah.
That's something people don't take into account. You can gun train a horse. That's perfectly fine. But, and I can say this because I've been in, when I would do these reenactment live,
right.
West style shows, we'd drive 100 head of Longhorn into this big 3-mile arena. There would fit 11,000 people on these hills, and we would do this big show where you have to drive the Longhorn herd in 100 head, dismount, go to chuck wagon, and then rustlers come blazing in and steal the herd from you. And it's a legitimate stampede. And I've explained this to people a lot when they talk about my horse, my gun. I could have been a Texas Ranger or something, I've heard all this stuff.
Yeah.
So you can train the horse, but a good cow horse, the reason they're a good cow horse is they got their head up. They know what's going on. They're watching every time one of those old cows tries to break, they're there, Most good cow horses, you just have to sit in the saddle, right? A really good cow horse. When that good cow horse, even if he's gun broke or not, realizes a bunch of people are coming to kill all of us and drive these cattle off a cliff, that's a whole different ball game, because most good cow horses will do their own thing. Back then, same as today.
Yeah.
And so not only are you worried about the horse being gun broke, it's the situation, like you were just saying, around you. Horses a good smart horse does not react to panic very well. Let's put it that way.
No, they don't.
And if they do, they're probably not a good cow horse. So,
like, I telling Jay, and I told you too, Garrett, but I gave you that voice message and a couple, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago.
I don't remember it. I must have.
Yeah, you're fine. But it was like a running battle between this Pawnee Scout and this Lakota Warrior. And, they're both on a horse. The Pawnee has a McClellan because he was issued one by the Army. No idea what the Lakota has. He could be, no saddle. I don't know. After those guys back then had been used to that, going around with no saddle because, ouch. When you go a little extended without a saddle on the horse.
Well, it's like sitting in a rocking chair if you know how to do it, but I don't know how to do it.
No.
I've seen guys just take off on horseback. I mean, I could ride slow. I've seen guys take off bareback on a horse and just, come to a screeching halt, do a complete spin. I'm like, man, the very first sidestep, I would just whip.
Same.
Well, it's been 15 years since I could get up on a horse bareback. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be number one, because I'd have to figure out a way to fly.
Yeah.
Shetland pony.
Yeah. Miniature donkey, baby. I got donkeys out here I could probably get on.
Well,
But and the thing is that they're neck to neck, and they're those two warriors fighting each other. And so I think one of them finally shot one of the horses, but the fact that those horses basically had the attitude to stay with it and not trying to veer off a buck or something.
yeah, because once they change their mind, you got nothing, no say.
You got nothing.
Right.
And you got to think about it. When you're riding and fighting, you're either riding with one hand on the reins or none.
Yeah, and it's something that I hear a lot of times with these guys that are the big modern gun channels, and they're always saying there's no reason why anyone would carry a single action revolver. I said, don't come to my country, because if those cowboys saw you on a horse with a or a semi-auto, and they know that one shot's going in the ground, the next one's going in your leg or your horse because that horse is going to jump. I said,
Right.
There's places for single action carry. There's places for even cap and ball revolvers. But I always, when people don't understand what actual rural horse lifestyle is like, and they start saying stuff like that, I'm like, well, your experience is, I don't know. I think your mouth is outrunning your brain at that point.
Well, it's always tricky. I mean, I've had these guys for 30 years, but I don't have that. We didn't live your lifestyle, the rural horse lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's going away here too. So
yeah. Hey, Captain Ball Junkie is here. Nice chat, guys. Throw another log on the fire for me. Going for a cup of coffee. Well, come on back, man. Keith, come on back. So what are you guys thinking about, Garrett, Sheldon? What's your black powder cap and ball? What's running in your minds? What do you got going?
Mainly shooting. Only thing I think the last one I shot was my 51 Navy, and that's just because I was reading again that War Party and Blue Book kind of has me captivated at the moment. And in that book, they basically said they issued the Pawnees Colt Navies.
Sheldon and I have been doing a very minor study on sight changes of 51 Navies.
Yeah, that's it.
Because we're looking for documentation on adjustable blade front sights on 51 Navies. Surprisingly, we found a bunch, like
Oh,
a
okay.
bunch. So I think as far as 51 Navies are concerned, my next project's probably going to be putting a sight on Sheldon's 51 Navy board.
I gave him permission, so he's just not doing it out of the blue.
So there is documentation for changing the front sights out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What did we find?
I think it was I think they were mainly third models.
They were late 1850s for sure. I think after the Civil War, the company quit doing it, but they were high end, usually engraved guns. A lot of guns were coming in stock sets, a box set with the stock engraved gun. But there was a number of a run they did where they weren't like engraved by, it wasn't like the customer requested this engravement. They did a run of the stocked engraved 51 Navies in the late 1850s that came with several dovetailed sights, and the set had more than one sight, and you could drift it out and put a different sight in for the stock, or I think the theory was that it would sight different if you had your face on a stock. I don't know how that works, but it came with 2 or 3 different sights. And then as we studied it a lot, we found a bunch of gunsmith style original people were making driftable, adjustable front sights for them with blades. And I'm sure it was on everything else too, but we were just looking at 51 Navies.
Sure.
Like the one I like was down at the Governor's Palace in Santa Fe. They have, I think he was a, what's the word, mule driver, but they have his rig, and his Navy has a rear sight and the front blade sight.
Mm-hmm. It's got a dovetail adjustable plains rifle style rear sight in the back of the barrel.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I've seen pictures of that around somewhere. I don't remember. You know how it goes. You look through so much. I think I saw a picture of that somewhere, or something similar to that. Anyways.
When I seen it, I was all being a little fanboy about it, because usually when you see an old Navy, they're old 51 Navy, they're always basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, someone took the time and learn their gun.
Yep. And I was just impressed to see that the factory actually did it for a run of high-end guns too. So, and who knows? Maybe they did it for a run of regular guns. But
According to the Colt forum, I guess if you wrote Colt saying you wanted a front blade sight, or if you could get it. But like I think that ended during the Civil War when all the production was just going to Marshall.
Yep. 61 to 67 or 8 was tough to get anything custom from Colt.
Yeah,
they were in the fire.
They were busy, so
yeah.
Yeah, there's notes out there. An old Bat Masterson letter where he wrote to Colt and said, "I want a certain gun at a certain barrel length, with a certain type of sight, and blah blah blah." And
sitting at the Long Branch Saloon, Dodge City down the road, he wrote the letter that said, "Send me one of your finest revolvers, make it light on the trigger, nickel plated with the barrel a little longer than the ejector rod, and your finest gutta percha grips." Which he didn't know that Colt didn't actually make true gutta percha grips at the time. It was a different kind of hard rubber, but they were like, "Hey, here's your gutta percha grips."
right.
Oh.
No, that is an interesting gun, and that brings me to a subject I would like to delve more into, because we all know that in the single action army world, and I assume it holds up true for the cap and ball world, everybody started out getting the longer barrel guns, and then they either, in the cap and ball world, they either chopped them or bought the pocket navy, or the shorter guns. But I would love to actually understand, there seems to be a time when it's more frontier, especially with the single action army, where more people are getting right off the bat 7.5-inch guns. And then it seems like as civilization creeps into a certain area, guns get smaller because, people are trying to conceal them and hide them. And that goes for cap and ball guns too, and that's a whole study that I would like to find out more about myself.
But I think you've probably got it right. When civilization shows up, norms start to say, well, maybe we should try to hide these things instead of just carrying these long barrels. I've always fascinated with whether or not just how the guys used the long barrels. But if they were fighting, they wouldn't want those long barrels. If they had to pull them, they wouldn't want those long barrels.
Yeah.
Matt Dillon is the only one I know that's been pulling that 8-inch barrel since the 1950s. But yeah. No, that's fascinating.
Yeah, because before the Buscadero rig, showed up in the 1920s, I've had that discussion with Duke Frazier on carry types. That's probably why cavalry twist and cross draw are so popular, because believe it or not, for me, it's easier to draw cavalry twist or cross draw.
No doubt.
Barrel gun.
No doubt. It's a lot easier. The cavalry twist is a lot easier for me.
And it took me a long time to understand that, because it doesn't make any sense why it's easier.
Right.
There you do it.
No, it doesn't make a bit of sense at all. But the only place it ever did make sense is that it seemed to be. I can imagine carrying cavalry twist on a horse for a long distance better than I can a straight draw, because of the way the holster sort of sits back on your leg.
Yeah, I got a holster back there that Duke Frazier made me back in about 2018. It's a cross draw. Back then I was riding a lot, and I guess they call it cowboy and out. Like now, if I wear it, it flops all over the place because I've wore it so much,
Mm-hmm.
But that has got to where that was the only style I'd carry on horseback, because it's set right in the crease of your leg.
Sure.
And if you wanted to be big gunfighter, tied down, low slung, try riding around with on a horse like that with one of those all day. Tell me how it goes for you.
I can't imagine. Of course, Matt Dillon was 6'7" or 6'8".
Yeah.
Right. So that might be different for people that are, however the weather is up that high. But he might have been able to pull it off. But it hurts just sitting on the saddle for 10 minutes. I mean, I can't imagine going 40 miles, down the road. Hey, let me check these comments. We got a couple of comments here. Carbon Spider said, I have a 36 caliber under single shot pistol. I need to get out, as it's been a long time on that one. Tom Vaughter, 4531, interesting discussion, horses and percussion revolvers like peanut butter and jelly, with a Colt Walker in the pommel. And then he went on to say 51 and 60 with a 12-inch bustling barrel, get the same velocity as my Walker with less powder.
Yeah.
And Captain Ball Junkie says, here's my guy. Speaking of Gunsmoke, I was a Festus fan.
No, you like Chester better, didn't you? No,
somebody agreed. Ken Curtis was an excellent actor.
Yeah, I like him in The Searchers too. We got Sheldon to watch The Searchers a couple months ago.
I have, and I think we mentioned this during that live stream, but I have a very hard time watching old westerns.
Oh, do you?
Like German Indians?
German Indians, and what was that one you said might have been? I remember long time when I was in high school, my dad was watching. I think we were watching Hell on Wheels on or something on TV. It might have been MASH, but it was like they were talking about some Western marathon they're having, and I just remember it was like they showed this Indian on a horse, and he's just all stoked saying, "Come out, die." I'm like, that is cheesy as all heck. Who wants to watch that?
I watched a bit of an Audie Murphy movie, a Western, yesterday that, I don't know, from the early 60s or something. And the main Apache Indian they had on there was a white guy with the worst spray tan you've ever seen in your whole life. And it just didn't go well. It just didn't work well. I mean, it did for the movie. The movie's fine, but I mean.
The big ones for me were always Jeff Chandler and Broken Arrow, I think it was. And Burt Lancaster in Apache, because their eyes are just so blue, like it's so blue.
Right.
But I love those movies because I grew up on them. Now, if you didn't grow up on them, you're probably not going to enjoy them. But for me, that's a legit part of my whole interest. Is a lot of those Western movies that were not accurate, but they were fun.
Oh yeah, just fun, right? And just fun. This Audie Murphy movie yesterday was fun. You forget how popular and famous he was. If you're a certain age.
I said all those old westerns, they would have actual natives in there, but they tend to be background characters. because we need the blue-eyed native to be, the star.
Yeah, well, they didn't go to they didn't. Well, there's a couple of them. Jay Silverhills was big in the day.
Yeah,
but I've often told people that the difference between we all talk about when we see a movie, and some of them are ridiculous these days. Some of them I just can't watch. They take it too far because they take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But a true, take a good historical Western like Hostiles or something like that that's come out, I mean, it's got its major issues, like Duke would say, it's 1890s, take the train. But 1883, take the train.
Take the train, right?
But the thing is, and I've talked to people about this, I said, wouldn't it be boring if every Western was a 100% historically accurate Hostiles and there was no Rio Bravo or El Dorado? How boring.
Well, there'd be no gunfights.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're in the war, there'd be no gunfights.
We need more Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
Or as somebody said, if you see a gunfight in real life, they were drunk, hiding behind buildings, shooting at each other for an hour, and nobody got hit, and then they just all went home, went to bed.
Yeah.
I think I saw on Tales of the Gun when I was younger, and I really liked it, which not everything on Tales of the Gun is perfect, but Tales of the Gun had it was on the Western Gunfighters, and I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the, might have been Breslin, one of the good authors of Colt Revolvers. In the very first of the episode, he says, you see these stories of these men standing out in the street, the gunfight, draw a fight. He said, in reality, they shoot you in the back in a ditch. They shoot you, in the back in the middle of the night through the bar window. He said, nobody's standing in the street getting in a gunfight. You could get killed that way.
Right.
Exactly.
But at the same time, if you don't have the, they always have the, when the legend becomes fact, print the legend. If you don't have the legend, who cares about the fact?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So,
and we've got Hickok and Davis Tutt partly and then the guy that wrote for the I can't remember his name, the colonel that wrote the article on Hickok that ended up in the national magazine there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That started it, and then we moved on, and Buffalo Bill sort of put it on steroids until the movies hit. So,
and
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, and it's an interesting thing to talk about because I always have to caution people, don't take it too far the other direction, because we go to the point of saying it never happened. Well, it happened a lot. You take Dallas and Fort Worth in the 1890s. There were legitimate gunfights in the street down there from time to time. It did happen, not every week in Dodge City. Nobody would live in Dodge City because of the amount of people killed by stray bullets if Matt Dillon had that gunfight in the street every week, Right. But I think it's, and I struggle with this too. As I start to find that something is not true, and then I have to be very careful I don't carry it way too far the other way and say, this absolutely never happened. Not common.
Yeah, uncommon. How's
uncommon.
That? Well,
uncommon.
It's a little bit like that gun. They're just uncommon.
Just uncommon.
You read stories about guys that get into a face-off in a saloon.
Mm-hmm.
They're all drunk, or somebody calls somebody out, or somebody gets pissed and goes home, comes back with their gun. You know what I mean? And come in blazing.
Yep.
But that's like not unlike today when you hear some shootings on the streets as they go get their gun, come in and go blazing. So it probably human fighting hasn't changed a whole lot, I would guess, in 175 years.
I also think there's something to the fact of today. I hear this all the time. The West is much more violent today, and that's true. But I think per capita of person that was there at the time,
it was pretty violent.
A lot more people were touched by the smaller amount of violence, because if you lived in a massive town at the time of 300-400 people and there was a shooting, odds are pretty good you knew everybody involved in it, and you can talk about it for the next 50 years. So
I saw some stats. Somebody was making that case the other day, and it might have been Dodge City, Garrett, where they said over a 4-year period there was like 45 people killed in Dodge City through gun violence that they can find in the record. And that sounds really tiny until you realize that there weren't 50,000 people living in those cities, right? That you're talking about by today's standards, if you do the statistics, as a function of how many people actually live there, that would probably, and like you said, everybody would know. Everybody's related to somebody, or they knew somebody, or they worked with somebody. So yeah.
And with Dodge City, it's a special case because I've had this discussion before, but it's a special case with Dodge City because they may have 40 people killed over a 5-year period, but every year 10 of those people were killed within like 2 months of the cattle season of the cattle drives coming in. So it was, cattle are going to start showing up here in July. They're going to quit coming in September. From July to September, you just don't open the windows. You don't open the shutters. You don't. And we're going to take this for a very limited amount of time because we're making a lot of money off these drunk cowboys.
Right. But we're not going for walks in the middle of the night.
It's over.
We ain't going for walks in the middle of the night back then, at least on the side of town you didn't want to be on. So.
Not across south of the tracks. Nope.
Right. Well, we've had, as you guys know, we've had a lot of stuff going on lately. We had the pistol shoot at the club a couple weeks ago. And then now the Target challenge is going. You guys have seen this.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it. I've been up around it, back of it, front it. Shot all of them in the same spot over and over again.
Me too. You see, the problem is we're just too good a shot. That's the thing. So, because I said, I even put a line in that video that people that get low scores are the ones that shoot tight groups. So I mean, be proud. If you're a low score, you probably put 3 in the 25 and ended up minus 25.
I think I was telling that to Cap and Ball Junkie the other day. This is the one challenge where if you lose, you still feel pretty good about yourself. I like it.
Exactly.
Like I was telling Jay earlier, was telling him I have a feeling that you and Garrett, are way better, marksman pistol shooters than I am, because
I doubt that.
I told him I don't target shoot. I don't set up targets. Of course I shoot in the safe direction or set up something, but it's kind of like, all right, we'll see if we can hit that, and if we get close to it, or if we hit, it's like, hey. And it tends to be past 25 because I can't gauge distance.
I don't know about you, Jay, but that's exactly the way I shoot.
Exactly.
If I hit it, I'm like, hey.
Nah, you
watch my videos. I celebrate when I hit things. When the steel goes off, it's like, yeah.
I think that steel goes off a lot more than you think it does. And when you were sighting in your snub nose, you were doing pretty good. And
you got to come at it with that attitude. If you come at black and powder shooting with an attitude of perfection right off the bat, you're going to quit.
I've been shooting 10 years.
You gotta have fun with it. And if you're not having fun, what's the point?
I do have fun with it. It just turns into, I know if I put it on paper, I ain't gonna look good.
What we probably should do, I like your Mike Bellevue started that the first time I saw it, where you shoot 6 and throw out the flyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you've adopted that. We probably should adopt that next year in the target shoot.
Yeah.
If you think about it, with cap and ball revolvers, there's always going to be a flyer.
Yeah,
right. There's going to be one flyer sooner or later, even if that's 5 inches. It's going to be a flyer.
Well, I'm glad you didn't do it this year, because if you had, that would have been Jake shot a perfect score.
I know.
And I wouldn't. I couldn't stand that.
Well, in fact, Louisiana Gray just said Jake did pretty good on it. No kidding.
He sent me that. He sent me that, and I texted him back, and I said, some of us used one hand.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that would have been my kind. He said, well, the guy said I could use 2 hands. And I thought, that's for older folks or people with sore shoulders.
There you did it. You gave him the Thanos snap, and he just won the whole thing.
Right.
I kind of knew he would.
But I have received, you always get these first. I've gotten 3 other perfect scores.
Oh, good.
So
good.
Jake's not in first place right now. He's in the running for a Hickok sticker.
Good.
But he's not in first place right now. He's in
feel better.
Solidly in second. So
I better tell him to shoot it again.
Yeah, he's got to shoot it again. Tell him he's going to have to find a way to get a 71 to win.
I had so much fun with that, because I knew when we told him about it, or when he got word about it, because I've never seen him lose one yet, which is going to be hilarious this time, because we used to host, or we were a co-host of what they call the Cabin Fever Challenge.
I remember that. Yeah.
And Ethan would do it, and it was just always, it never mattered because as soon as you got into smooth bores or muzzle loading, Jake was going to win.
Right.
So it really brings light to my soul to know that someone got a perfect score.
Oh yeah, we've got a couple of guys that have shot every year, and they always come out near the top. And both of them sent their targets in. I knew I was going to get them early because that's what they do. Is they go out and they shoot a perfect score first, and then they sort of put their mark on the board. So I've got 270. You can tell him I've got 270s. So he's going to have to try it again.
Yep. I think that's something, you've hit on a lot, and I think I need to hit on more on my channel is relax and have fun with this,
Yeah.
And the competition thing just brings a whole nother level of levity to it because you think you're good and then you find out, well, no, I'm not that good. But the reason is I go out and shoot. If I go out to the 11 Bang Bang range, you've probably seen this. We have several big Iron Man sized targets and several 2 foot by 2 foot, and back up and shoot them. And I've had a lot of people ask, why don't you shoot the smaller targets, the little poppers? And I have some of those. But I said, man, I'm here to have fun like everybody else.
Yes,
if I can hit that target,
right?
If I can hit that target, I'm happy. You don't want to see a video of me frustrated because I missed the entire video, but I'm sure you've seen a few of them.
There's one coming out from me, so I've got a brass frame challenge update that's coming in a couple of days, and it's 200 rounds. I let it wait to get to 200 rounds, and I want to make sure I show as many of them as I can. So I was shooting from 70 yards at one point, and I was 1 for 18. Okay, 1 for 18 at 70 yards the other day. And I just got them coming one right after another. I showed every one of them like it looks like I'm shooting a machine gun. And so there you go. It's like, yay, 1 for 18.
Wow. So that's no small feat. Right. 70 yards is, I can shoot better with a cartridge like single action revolver at long range, but my hat's off to people that can shoot consistently at beyond 50 yards with cap and ball revolvers. I'm just not that good at it.
We had at our competition 2 weeks ago, we have the finishing day it's a 50-50 Wild Bill Hickok shot. So we set the 20 by 30 silhouette target up at 75. And then guys can buy it's $1 a shot, right? And then the winners get half of the 50% and the other half goes to the club. And we have guys do pretty well on that, believe it or not. I think this year the guy won hit 3 out of 6, if I'm not mistaken, or 4 out of 6. I don't remember. But last year we had a guy that hit like 12 out of 20. I mean, he was shooting a Ruger, but still, you still got to shoot straight for 75 yards.
Yeah, that's a feat.
Garrett, have you done the Hickok shot?
Have I done it?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what you call the Hickok shot because
the touch shot.
Some people, get real adamant about you have to hit the size of the heart, or something, that big around. And I was always been like,
just about fun.
I've always been like, you really think that with failing eyesight, Hickok determined where Tut's heart was at that range? I guarantee you, he aimed at his belt buckle and got lucky.
I've always thought that had to have been the luckiest shot in the history of the world, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was a great shot. Don't get me wrong. He used to shoot oysters at 50 yards with a Dragoon. And that was recorded by newspapers at the time who actually went out and saw him do it.
Right.
But I think by that point, his eyes were already failing and he's in the heat of a gunfight. And that's just such a long ways, making out where you're going to hit there. I think he legitimately aimed lower upper mass and just got lucky. But that being said, yes, I can hit a 10-inch round plate at 75 yards. I don't think I can do it consistently. I mean, I could probably hit it once out of every 6, but a lot of people go real adamant that you want a 4-inch circle or a balloon or something. And I don't know if that's the actual rules of making the Hickok shot these days or something.
Well, like you guys were just saying, it's about just the fun of it. Can you do the shot?
Yeah.
No, we have a 20 by 30 silhouette steel plate, right? It's a full IPSC or whatever that is, steel plate. It's at 75 yards, and I don't care if you nick the edge of it or hit it right in the center. If the light goes off, because we put target lights on it, if the light goes off, you win. You score. Right. So we're not going to be too.
That'd be fun. I have an idea to take my snub nose 60 Army that I snubbed, and in the upcoming, probably toward the end of July, I want to do an actual, because it shoots pretty good. Not as good as that Remington that I sent out to Jake. It shoots really good.
That shoots really well.
Didn't you say Snapper switched the barrel out with the match grade?
Yeah, he switched it out with a modern Pieta. I sent him a Pieta target pistol now. Has a 1 in 30 twist. And so that barrel that's on it has a 1 in 30 twist. But amazingly, still doesn't do the best job stabilizing long 250 grain Colt bullets in the conversion cylinder. 200 grain bullets, it'll still just stack them tight. But the longer bullets, it's still not, well, I have to take this with a grain of salt. You have to realize Jake's shooting at 18 yards offhand, and he sends me a message. It's not shooting that good with the 45 Colt with a big, heavy 250 grain bullet. I was like, oh, what's wrong? And he sends me this picture, like up close, and I'm like, oh, they're everywhere. I said, well, how big is that? And he shows me the card below. It's like, oh, it's like that big of a group, man.
Right.
40 yards off it.
It just wasn't on the card.
That's terrible, he said.
It was just, I think it was above the card, if I remember, on the right.
And I take blame for that because I sighted that gun in before I sent it. And I bury my sight in the bottom of the groove every time. So, like, I picture it. My guns shoot high for other people. Also, I'm cross-eyed dominant, so when I sight a gun in, it shoots left for a lot of people. So I sent it out there to him after I just made this beautiful stack, 2 inches high at 10 yards, and he shoots it, and it's 6 inches high and 4 inches left.
So let me mention a couple of comments here. Carbon Spider said, I've seen the target but could not get it. Carbon Spider, send me an email at capandballfanatic@gmail.com and you'll have one show up in your email box as soon as I can get there. We want everybody to try this thing. You can print them off as many as you want. Faith in His grace, I'd be lucky to hit the paper at all. Well, give it a shot. If you miss the paper, it's a 0.
Yep. And I think that was because I messed up the video. I think you were originally going to make it negative, and then I did my video, and I was like, I didn't know. But the thing is, I could stack them all in there. I mean, I know I could, but when you start trying to get to those outside, get to that 5 on the top, that's when I shoot over the target.
Well, or when I try to get to the 10 on this side, I have a funny -1 fascination when I'm shooting.
Well, I try to shoot for 25, and I have a 6 shot in a row lower 10 fascination.
No, I wanted it to be 0 off the paper because, like I said, you get 6 shots on the paper. So if you only hit it twice, you get 4 more, right? You can keep trying, right, until you put 6 holes in the paper.
You can miss the thing 4 times, put 1 in the 25 and 1 in the 10, and beat me.
Me too. I mean, well, you don't have to. And then and then Captain Ball Junkie Keith says, one-handed, astigmatism, 2 left feet, and a bad back.
And on my worst day, I can stand there.
Right. Well, my worst day, I'll knock the fly off of a. And then aim small, miss small. Yes, of course. No, I just thought it would be fun this year to do something other than the small group. And I didn't, believe it or not, this wasn't pre-thought out. It just sort of evolved. I'm sitting there playing with the target, and I went, oh, that's kind of cool. Let me see if I can put another circle on that thing. Right? Oh, yeah. I mean, and so it sort of worked that way. But
I got done shooting it. All I could think of, man, I wish I'd have got in on this last year when I was shooting at the envelope. I'd have done good.
Well, you know what? Hold your horses. Woo! Because in the fall, we're doing this again, and it's going to be that target. That Hickok envelope target with the stamp in the middle. Because that was so popular last year. I see it still showing up with guys target shooting. So we're gonna shoot that one again in the fall. That's when we typically do this. But we had what happened is we had a article in Muzzleloader magazine by one of my good friends now, Mike Nesbitt, back in March about the competition, and the emails started coming in. Where do I get the target? When's the competition? Blah, 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 blah. So I thought I better have one. before we lose our momentum on that thing. So
Well, I'm glad you did because I'm always looking for content ideas, and that's a perfect 10-minute
Well,
video.
when we did the card shooting a couple of years ago, it took me a year to figure out to do that because I thought there must be a reason why there aren't many of these competitions done on YouTube channels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, I think Duke did one years ago where YouTube shooters took a target and shot it, right? I remember that.
That's how we first got in contact with Mike Bellevue.
I found that, right? But then I got thinking, there must be a reason. And then it's turned out just fine. You know what I mean? It's turned out just fine. So
Mhm.
I think it's people get excited about it. So okay, so Eric Olson, I tried shooting the target last weekend, managed a negative 100. I'm gonna try again this week.
I thought my negative 30 was the worst you could go, but
we had a negative 11 last weekend at the club. Hey, listen, Eric, if that's anywhere close to true, that target's got to come in because remember, I'm paying the 5 lowest scores with a Hickok sticker.
Yeah,
we want everybody, not just the winners. We want people in the 50s and in the 40s and in the 30s to send their targets in because I want to give away prizes.
That means you shot an awesome group.
That's right. You shot
a minute 25.
That's a beautiful group.
5 shots in the 25 would do it, right?
Well, we've been here for an hour and 15 minutes already. Can you believe that? What a great discussion.
I hope it's not over already.
No, I'm not. We're not calling it. We still got things to talk about.
Oh, good.
I think.
I have a question for Sheldon there right quick because I haven't talked to him very often. Did you tell me here lately, a few weeks ago, that you had bought something revolver-wise?
I bought something?
Something revolver-wise. Did you buy a cap and ball?
No.
Might have been Jake.
I've been looking at those Spiller and Burrs.
Oh. Well, you said you were buying a sight. And then I thought you said you got something else. Or maybe it was to go on your...
Oh, that's a surprise, man. You got to wait for that.
No, I didn't mean that. I thought you got a 6-inch 49 pocket model.
Yeah, I got that. It's like I think when I measured it was like 5.5. That's the one I got from Duke a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I fitted a Pieta spring into. And you don't need a double spring, that one.
Oh, is that when I had the hat on?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's the one I got from Duke, and yeah, I fitted the Pieta spring onto it and had to do some like actual fitting of the spring. And that hammer is stiff, and when you shoot it, the caps just stay where they have to be. There is no blowback on that.
That's what you want.
Right.
And for a 49 pocket model, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's real impressive. I've double springed mine. I'm going to take the Pocket Police and the Pocket Navy out and see how far I can shoot each one of them before I get cap jammed. So I want to see how it works.
No, I shoot that one. The one is it's an ASM, like early 80s, and it's like I said, that the new spring on it is just a shortened full size Uberti or PS spring, and I think it's just because of the length of it now. It like makes it like tension more.
Yep.
But yeah, when it smacks a cap, it just smacks them, and they just stay where they're supposed to be until you
stay right where they're supposed to be.
It's like, holy crap! I wasn't expecting it to be that. Like when I first put it on, I tried to thumb it or tried to clock the action. It caught me by surprise how heavy it was.
Well, I think that Pieta Patterson is one of the, in my opinion, I don't know if this is the same for everybody, is one of the worst cap and ball revolver replicas that they put out. At least it used to be, of just how bad it was timed when it would come for me and several people. But the second most frustrating cap and ball revolver replica for me is the 49 pocket model. Yeah. And in my opinion, the worst cap and ball revolver on the market today is Uberti's 1862 Pocket Police. Yes. And it's because we're working with the 51 Navy frame, which already has a very, or not 51 Navy, we're going with 49 pocket model frame, which already has a very small spring. And in the 49 pocket model, it's too light. And then you put the pressure of 36 caliber on front of it, and it makes it. Oh, I have never had so much frustration. One day I had 2 of them in my hand, an original, the Snapper from Snapper's Antique Firearms Zone, he loaned to me, and I had that one. I shot the original first. I shot 100 rounds, no cap jams, no fragments, no slowing down, just wham, bam, 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 100 rounds, nothing. And then I picked up that Uberti. I kid you not, that day in that video, I wanted to throw that thing in the creek after about 5 shots, because it took me literally 45 minutes to shoot 5 shots. And I was like, one of these things is different, you know. And the matter was, the original has the thickest spring of all cap and ball revolvers.
Really?
Yep, because your average 51 Navy original has about a 75,000 spring. The average 60 Army had about a 80 to 85,000 spring. The original 62 Pocket Police has a 100,000 or however you pronounce it spring. Literally the thickest, like the thickest cap and ball revolver spring I've ever had. I think it's because even Colt knew that they're putting more pressure onto the smaller dimensions of that spring. And so it's one of the bear to cock on the original one too, but it just doesn't fail you. So, you know.
Well, Cap and Ball Junkie said we made it 80 minutes without mentioning cap jams. Thanks. They've been sort of a thing the last month or so. And then Rock says, I recently double springed a Uberti Remington that had cap issues. I have to cut out the bend over for them to both fit. Works great now.
Mm-hmm. They some of the Remingtons, I think, are like I've never really messed with, well, because I haven't messed with Remingtons that much. I know there's certain people that absolutely hate it when I say that, but you know what? I'm entitled to my opinion.
Yeah, you're among some friends here, so don't worry.
I don't shoot them that much, but I've never had a problem, honestly, with too much of cap jams. I have a problem with cap fragments in them, but
anytime I shot Remington, it's just within that first cylinder, it's trying to bind.
Yep. I can give you guys a little, since he's not watching anyway, give you guys a spoiler preview that Jay got at Everything Black Powder's got a video coming out where he legitimately has a trick. And I've heard all about cutting grooves in the base pin, and I've heard about grease. And him and Jacob Pierce from Pierce Brothers have come up with a legitimate trick that makes a Remington run without any grease, no wads, 100 shots, just like a Colt. No grease, no wads, no.
I can't wait to see that.
Right?
It's coming out. He sent me it because he wanted to get my reaction.
What is the way they do it? They just don't shoot it?
Yeah. No. A lot of people cut grooves in the base pin.
Yeah, right.
What they came up with was this design to take the center of the base pin and take a few thousandths off the center, and then they go to the front of the base pin where the cylinder rides, where you can't take much off because it would rattle.
Right.
And they cut star grooves in the front, and then they spiral back to this open area in the center. And I've seen every cut groove in a video you can imagine, and it works better, but not good. This works
fantastic. I can't wait to see that.
Jacob Pierce, I think, has over 100 shots. I think Jake quit like 70, because he just ran out of powder, and he was still just going. But he sent it to me because he was trying to get my reaction, because one of the very last things that he said in the video was, if Remington had done this, no one would ever buy a Colt. And I said, how dare you? That's blasphemy. And he said, forgive me, Father. What shall I do? And I said, well, go out, blow up 2 Remingtons, go your way, and sin no more. He said, I thought I just have to say Hail Marys. I said, that's for little stuff like murder and robbery.
Hey.
What you did on the end of that video is a whole nother level, man.
Oh, brother. That's funny.
So that's a little spoiler.
So I just got a 36 caliber mid-90s Dance Brothers, Pieta Dance Brothers.
Ooh.
It's one of the 75 that were made. There were 75 of these made. and it's in great shape. I'm going to shoot it, but I noticed that spring is a lot tighter than the Dance Brothers I have. That's 2 years old. You know, same gun, different. I mean, 44 versus 36. But I noticed that that's a little tighter, so I'm going to leave that the way it is and see what with the stock nipples and see what happens. And
have you shot many Army San Marcos?
I have not.
Okay, so it seems like the Army San Marco, Army San Paulos have good heavy springs, right? I mean, they're not as heavy as the original Colts, but they're good heavy springs. I'm kind of wondering if it's not the cowboy action shooting element came in the the 90s, late 90s,
Sure.
early 2000s, where people started complaining. Like if you go back and read the forums and the board, boards, you'll read all the time, it's too heavy, it's too heavy. And I think two things happened. I think Uberti and Pieta both decided, mostly Uberti, that they didn't want to hear that complaint anymore, so they lessened the spring. The other thing I think it's a cheap stamped steel spring. It's just and I have people ask me all the time. They say, "Well, the steel's better today than it was then." I said, "Well, here's the thing. I can still pull a screw out of an original Colt 170 years later. A lot of times I can't pull the screw out of a Uberti 3 years later without just twisting the head off of it, because I don't think it matters how good your steel is if you don't heat treat it correctly. You don't harden it. And the springs in those old guns were forged steel. They weren't stamped cheapest. So I think there's some argument to be made nowadays when I could push back a little bit, say, yes, maybe the overall quality of most steels is better now than it was then. But that doesn't mean that it's treated with the same tender love and care as those originals for the most part.
Sure. Well, I'd never thought about the influence of cowboy action shooting on the heaviness of the springs, because the way that goes, if you watch video of that and you see guys, they're shooting really light springs to make the speed go fast. Michael Brackett says he set Jake Pierce's Remingtons up.
Okay. So do you? Okay, yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about then. What they did.
It's like I used to go look at the cowboy action form. I think you call it Cass City form a lot. Really got quiet in the last couple of years because I think most of those guys are giving just probably not with us anymore. But yeah, and a lot of things they talk about is how to make their springs lighter, or complaining about it's hard to cock the guns. It's and then it's basically before the first one I know who did it was Mark Hubbs, when he double springs his 49 pocket. But I remember when I go 10 years ago when I got into cap and ball guns, that's one thing I always saw was how to mitigate the cap jams, what you can do. You can install this cap brake, you can do this, you can do that. And then thinking about it now, since Garrett has brought it up, no one ever mentioned the springs, the width of the springs back then compared to now.
I remember the first time I did it, I doubled 2 Pieta springs, which doubling 2 Pieta springs gives you more than original.
I could not.
I was at an event. I handed it to him and Duke, and Sheldon said something. Well, evidently I didn't grow up with farmer thumbs like some.
I ain't got those farm boy hands.
Well, I will tell you, if you're going to pull the double Pieta springs, I've got some of mine on that. You've got to have a grip. You know what I mean? Or. And then after a few shots, it's down to 2 hands because I only.
But you're not. I just shoot that way all day long, and I'll change the hammers out too if I have to. If I don't have to deal with the frustration of cap jams.
I understand from what I know of, and I admit I don't know much about it. Cowboy action shooting. I understand the nature of that sport, which is kind of exciting, as they need to do as fast as they can, as quickly as they can. With accuracy. So I mean, I get it. That's fine. We all want different things. I like the historical closeness of having the heavier spring, and makes my thumb hurt a little bit, but you're gonna find when I bring this out, little spoiler alert, when I bring this brass frame cap and ball update out, here in a couple of days. We're to 350 shots without a cab jam since I put the double spring on it.
Pretty good.
Over the course of 3 videos. So it's working on that particular gun remarkably. So we had one squashed piece that got squashed against the face of the recoil shield, but I think the double hammer squashed it so big I didn't even know it was there until I took the gun apart to clean it. Usually that can stop them up. My definition of a cap jam is it's got to stop the action. Shut us down.
When you have 2 Pieta springs, it just molecularly binds the cap to the frame anyway. When it hits it,
flattened it. It took me like 5 minutes with a screwdriver to get the thing off. It was. I thought, because it's brass, I looked down in there at one point and I thought, God, look at the brass showing through from the recoil shield. turns out it was a cap, but there's no way to know. So I couldn't tell you when it happened because we just kept it going. So that worked.
So that's your Pieta brass frame, right? Yeah. I'm gonna think Uberty doesn't even make one, but that's interesting. And the whole thing is, I didn't know when we started doing this we were going to get so much flack over it.
I know it.
I mean, your videos especially, but mine too. Is just people are like, which I'm starting to find a new fan base that is starting to irritate me a bit, and that's kind of the Birdie fan base. Yeah. Which is like, I don't care, you guys. I really don't care, but I feel like I've had enough experience that I can come out and tell you my opinion that I've had a lot of trouble with you birdies here lately.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that makes some people mad, but then there's the people that just can't buy having a heavier hammer spring because they've got their set up with cap rakes and cap covers.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And like I said, that's all fine. It's just that not everybody wants to do that. And historically, people would look at you like you had 2 heads if you had a cap rake.
Right.
Yeah.
You just don't need it.
Yeah, so let me get a couple of comments here. We've got Faith in His Grace said they should harden the screws better. That's for sure, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Brackett said he's been molding the Remington base pin like that for about 10 years. That's really cool.
Well, it works. I'll tell you that.
That's really cool. Cap and Ball Junkie. I had he shot my brass framer in the pistol shoot last week, so I've got a guest shooter on this coming up video. It's going to be a Cap and Ball Junkie. He had 3 or 4 smash caps in the hammer face safety slot. I've had little pieces get into that safety slot, but it does. And I've had some people suggest filling the safety slot with something, and I'm not going to do that because then there's no safety slot, and I carry it on the safety pin.
That's another moving further away from the original.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do that. And then Carbon Spider asks, is 2 springs hard on the nipples? It doesn't seem to be. I find that I'm starting to think that maybe the some of the slick shot nipples and some of those, they stand a little more proud than others. That might be harder on the nipples than anything else. And Keith Cap and Ball Junkie is the one that really hit on that, how proud those things stand. And now I look at them, it's absolutely true. I guess I didn't look at them very good. And Eric Olson says, I put a shim above the screw on the spring on the 51 and my 62, and it's been working good.
That's probably a good way to do it. 30,000.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it, right?
Like I have Garrett knows, and I was messaging him about it, but I have a Belgian 18. The barrel says 1960 new model RV because they came out in the 60s, and I found out mine came out like legit like the early 60s. And the hammer spring is thick. It's not as thick as an original, but it's thicker than the Pieta and the Uberty. I had actually, despite it running for almost 60 years, I had to draw file the mainspring because I had, the marks on it, grinding marks. But I think it's still, it functions really good. But they, like what the other guy would, like the comment you read, it does have like some washers on it still. And it makes it even better.
Yeah. Is that the one that's made Did we ever determine if that was made on original Colt equipment that was purchased and sent there?
From what I understand, they're not made with the original Colt machinery, but they're made really close to original Colts.
Mm.
Like the back strap, especially with early ones like the one I have, the back strap is made out of 2 pieces. And I guess because of how close those Belgian ones were, they were like getting kind of popular for people to make fake Colts out of.
What gets me when I hold up a Pieta or Uberti to an original is the size of the screw in the original that goes from the back strap to the trigger guard on the bottom.
Yeah.
It's very small on the replicas. On the originals, that's a big, heavy, chunky screw with a big slot. And I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, I can see where they cut a lot of money here because they just use basically the same screw down here that they use to screw the trigger guard into the frame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But just little things like that.
It's like that Colt, that Belgian Colt or Centaur, it's really nice. The loading port,
I have heard that. I read that or heard that somewhere.
Yeah, the loading port, you can feed a paper cartridge in, no issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. And there's a website, I think it is called 1860 Colt or 1960 Centaur, but it's really close to originals. And what do you call it? What was it again? I guess Pieta parts would be the best thing to fit in there, because I'm sitting there, shooting it like, what if this trigger and bolt spring breaks? What am I gonna do? Because I try Uberti just for a heck of it, and it's too short. So, but from my understanding, you could probably use new reproduction Colt parts made for original Colts, not Ubertis or Pietas.
I found that the Pieta parts are usually a little oversized, which is good because you can always take more off. It's harder than to add on. The one thing that you cannot really change out, I've noticed, obviously between the two, is the original has a slightly bigger arbor than the Pieta.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just slap it on. And if you could, you'd find the Pieta cylinder is just slightly longer than the original.
Yeah.
Same reason you can't put the Pieta cylinder in the Uberti.
Right.
It's just a little too long, which is not that big a deal. If you did have to replace one, if you had an original frame and barrel that you were, wasn't matched and you were going to use anyway, you could face off the front of the cylinder or shorten the forcing cone. Either way, that's better than having a bigger gap, in my opinion.
And that's one thing is not to name names, but Garrett, you mentioned it in your video when I bought the supposed original spec Colt mainspring, and it was not.
That's right.
I'm still a little upset about that.
That's right.
I made that whole video because he sent me back. He said I got scammed, and he sent me the email, and they said, and this is a big-time company. Like, this is the company people go to for replica parts or parts that are made to match originals. And they say original springs and Uberti springs are basically the same dimension.
Oh.
I was so upset.
I literally went out and made a video just because of that. I think I sent that to you too, didn't I, Jay? You saw the email.
Yeah. Yeah. When I saw that, I went, "Oh, that's fantastic! Isn't that great?" Like you, Garrett, I've been a little surprised at how clearly cap jams are an issue that everybody experiences, right?
Yeah.
And clearly, lots of folks who've been doing this for a long time have their own ways, and there are folks that make a living on some of this, and that's great. And the nipple companies are making a living on some of this. Mm-hmm. But I was a little shocked, which is fine. I'm not trying to get anybody's business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even suggesting people do it a certain way. I'm just trying something and seeing if it works.
And proving it on camera.
Yeah. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a goofy YouTube channel. I mean, it's not like we're a lab. We're just we're having fun. But I have been a little surprised in how sensitive this is as a subject. But I know that what's working for me is working, and if nobody else it's great. If I was going to shoot cowboy action, I'd have cap posts put in. You know what I mean? I'd have the light spring and I'd have that stuff done because that would work in that venue, right? If that's what I was doing, but that's not what I'm doing. So
it's the thing of, some people just don't want to screw around with the heavier hammers.
Yeah.
It is a different thing. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah. And it's YouTube. People will find something to cling to. This is the hill I'm going to die on.
And right. Jake, I mean, like Jay and I were saying before, we went live when I first joined, but, Jake said it best at the end of his videos. So...
Yeah, that's what attracted me to his channel. I wasn't even doing videos at the time, and I saw him end his videos with, "And if you don't like this, make your own damn video." And I went, I think I like this guy.
And that's, if you know him in real life, that's just him.
Yeah, well, it's clear that he can get away with it.
There is nothing fake about Jake.
You can't get away with that if it is fake. You know what I'm saying? If people sense you're fake, they'll just blow you off.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was great. I told I told Sheldon we all think it. It's just he gets to say it.
Can I address this? Michael Brackett said he's absolutely right, and I wanted to clarify.
I was going to too. Go ahead.
He said Uberti parts are closer to Colt parts, and that's true in many cases. The reason I said I like to use the Pieta parts is a lot of times on the originals, which if you guys see me, I've worked on a lot of originals. They tend to be walked out just a little bit. They might be a little stretched. Things have worn. And usually that's why, and the Pieta parts, in my opinion, are harder steel. That's why I like to take the Pieta parts that are oversized and fit them to the originals. Yeah. But I just wanted to clear that up. Yeah, Uberti parts are definitely closer.
I wouldn't I wouldn't mind using I try to trigger bolt spring, a Uberti trigger bolt spring on that Belgian Colt. Too short, by a few.
Yeah.
Just too short. So
and you have to bear in mind a lot of that stuff changed on the 51 Navies, and not so much on the 60 Army, but especially 51 Navies. Dimensions did change over the course of 20 plus years that they were made originally.
Hey, listen, we got somebody who's new around here. Tater 357 actually says, "Howdy, folks, new to the group. Looking forward to the 2026 challenge." Well, we're looking forward to having you. And he actually said he found us on Jake's channel. So that's great. Welcome.
I told Garrett, I don't do YouTube. I'm just a token Indian that kind of just that just floats around.
Hey, that's one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can say it.
You can say it.
Yeah, nobody else can.
I am the Johnny Silver Heels.
Yeah, you're the real life Tonto. So this is fascinating. It gets interesting. I even got a little gun shy with this next brass frame challenge video, trying to squeeze all 200 rounds into that video in case somebody suggested I was cutting out cap jams.
Yeah.
Again. But it is what it is, and I'm over it now. But that was
it blew me out of the water. Which I've been on YouTube long enough and around. We built, I can say we in a way, because everything Black Powder is a big channel, obviously. But I was actually around even before him, and when he first got started, we were about the same size, and then he blew up. One of the ways we blew that channel up or helped him is he had a system to where he would text me every time he got a negative comment, if it was a stupid one, not like a critique. And it would go to a group chat. This is a little inside baseball. So if he had somebody that was just bugging him, he would send a picture of the comment to a group chat of a bunch of people that were all YouTubers. And we would dogpile on. And if you knew you had a live one, we could drive a video on that channel from 2,000-3,000 views to 10,000 views, and we documented it. By engaging with that negative comment. We could string one comment into a comment section of 100 and just run these poor guys down that were just being rude or something, and they just all of a sudden get bombarded with 10 or 15 other YouTube channels and just drive it. And that's why I always tell people, don't feel bad about negative comments. They are traction. Now, if you're not the kind of person who can live with that, it's not a good way to live your life. But when you've got a group of 10 or so friends looking at this saying, man, let's just drive.
Exactly. I think what people don't realize, I think you're hitting on the bigger issue, which is that YouTube doesn't distinguish between good comments and bad comments.
Nope.
They're just looking at, is your video something people engage with? Even if they're complaining at you the whole day, even if they're calling you names, YouTube's algorithm is saying, hey, this is a video that draws people out. And there's some truth to that, right? I mean, if people want to step up and make negative comments that are specific to the video, then that means you've hit on something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're at least listening.
Yep.
So
it led to one of my favorite videos I've ever made that I haven't released, but I've sent it to you, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to you because I called it the Testament of the Firearms, where I made a 15-minute video where I took all the what I considered ridiculous comments that Jake had sent me over the years, and I made it into a book of the Bible, a biblical prophecy.
I got to tell you, I've never laughed so hard in my whole life. So that's pretty good. That would get some reaction. Well, it's fine. I've been pretty lucky, I think, over the years. I haven't had that much pushback, here and there, but nothing terrible. Where you get accused of stuff, but it's over and it's gone and it's done and it's okay. Hey, Michael Brackett has said, well, a heavier spring will wear parts faster if you don't mind replacing parts, and I really don't. I would rather replace the parts than deal with what I was doing there.
It's closer to the original. So.
Yeah, I would do that. And then he went on to say, you guys will know this better than me, the left bolt arm is supposed to be rather limber, whereas the Pieta bolt doesn't move. And then Pieta bolts are the only ones I've had in the shop that shave the cam off the hammer.
I've had 5 U-birdies in the last, and Sheldon's is one of them here, but 5 U-birdies in the last 4 or 5 years that the cams just disappear on them because they're too soft. But I wouldn't argue the point that, Pieta's probably a little stiff. I think I replaced Pieta hammers on, I've had 35, 40 Pietas. I probably replaced hammers on 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, and that probably is why.
The one cam that I had wear off was a Pieta that I had to replace the bolt.
Like I know on that Belgian Coke, that's the only thing I can really make difference. Is the cam on that is replaceable. I just don't know how you're going to replace it. And that hammer, the face that the cam is on, it is mangled up. I don't know what happened in that gun's life.
By the way, Captain Ball Junkie said he shoots Centaurs, the Belgian guns. He says they're remarkable. He said they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard, maybe it was from him who I heard that from. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I got to give Keith credit. He came up to the pistol shoot and took the brass frame gun that he'd never shot before and shot the daylights out of it and did pretty well with it first time. You were talking earlier about being a marksman there, Sheldon. My problem is I shoot a different gun every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you too, Garrett. So I'm shooting all these different guns.
Absolutely. Because I have people forever asking, why can't you shoot back on 11 bang bang? It's like I was shooting decent, I thought. Yeah. But I would explain to people, it's not the guns that I shoot. Every gun shoots different. I'm not taking these guns out before I make a video and shooting 100 rounds through them and then making a video.
Yeah.
So it's all on video, figuring out. And Ethan and I both have explained that when you're on YouTube shooting a different gun every week, it's hitting a different place every week. And then I made that one video that one time with my 72 open top, which I had shot a lot. And I explained, this is when I shoot a lot. I can shoot it because I know where it's going to hit.
Right. Well, I've got a couple of those that I like to shoot, but I don't use those on videos a whole lot. I've said a couple times on the videos because somebody said to me, why do you keep shooting a gun for the first time on video? Are you really shooting a gun for the first time on video? And I go, yeah, there's a bit of a high wire act to this whole thing, right? I mean, it's part of the fun, which is when I say it's first shots, it's a legitimate first shots, right? Yeah. Right. I mean, I haven't, like you said, Garrett, I haven't been out shooting 100 rounds through these things. But now what's funny is this brass frame one I've put about almost 375 rounds through it. I'm actually hitting stuff. Mm-hmm. It's kind of amazing.
It's very interesting. When you take up YouTube, And a lot of people are like, man, I just love to shoot. I want to go take up YouTube. I said, prepare for the fact that for the rest of the time you're on YouTube, you're not pulling the trigger without the camera on you, because that's a waste of powder.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So
even if I'm
everybody's
not
going
going to use it, I've always got the camera set up, even if it's not going to get used for a year. I
Yep.
mean, it never throw anything away.
There have been times when over the last 7 years, I've literally just had to take a break and force myself to go out and just shoot without a camera, because then I'm more liable to try a trickier shot. I'm more liable to, like, it's interesting because there was an older group of YouTube that came even before me, right?
Mhm.
Where it was very highly edited. Most of them, they were extremely good shots. And it was like, you had to live up to that early on. You know, even like Mike Bellevue, he's a great shot.
Yeah.
A cap and ball, not Fanatic. Oh, you're a great shot too, but a cap and ball the channel.
Yeah.
You know, he's a great shot. And we were trying to live up to that. It seems like after COVID, a lot more channels came along, and we needed those early channels, but now channels, especially like yours, are focused more on let's just enjoy this and have fun. And
Right.
that's a whole different, and when you're out there shooting every week, you've got to have that mindset. Otherwise, if you're trying to be in competition with all these other channels to, you know, I got to shoot good or better at, just have fun with it, man. Because I think I said it on one of your live chats not long ago. None of us are ever going to beat Hickok 45, so we're all just racing for second place.
Exactly. It took me, I got caught up in that sensing the internal competition thing when I first started. And it's in the first couple of videos, it's like, what do? I missed 3 out of 6 on this one. You know, God, I look like I suck. And then I realized, you know, some days I do suck, and some days I'm pretty good. And my guess is some days everybody sucks. You know, at some things. I was a baseball player, fairly high level for a long time, and some days I struck out 3 times in a game too. You know what I mean? You're going to have those days. So hopefully not very often, but I do.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, because you're coming on. I mean, legitimately, I stepped away from this stuff for like 7 months to a year, and Sheldon will tell you about every day. He was always sending me something. Hey, let's get back into this. Let's do this again. And I was like, yeah, I just kind of burned out, didn't want to do it. And it was part of it was that live chat we had with you and just watching your channel. And instead of watching people strive for perfection, which you're a pretty good channel anyway, you got a lot of perfection going on, but having fun with it was a whole new ball game of entering this. Now I have just, and it used to be with us 3 brothers, we were very serious. Now it's just me and Noah. And if you don't know Noah, all he does is laugh and have fun.
You get that feeling. Yeah, I get that feeling. Yeah.
And I realized when I first started with him, I was like, man, we got to do this, we got to do that. And he'd just look at you and laugh and then do something totally different. And I was like, okay. And it took off. People love Noah.
Oh yeah.
Noah's a very good person.
Thanks for that. So what I'm trying to do gets through. See, I don't know how to. I can change the parts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't know how to mill things. And in my hands, a Dremel tool, I would do damage, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I might Dremel my finger off. That's not something I've ever grown up doing, right? My dad did, and I hated it because it was all he did, right? So I went the other way. And I do have to tell you a funny story. He used to build cars, hot rods from scratch in the garage. He tried to get me involved in it and said, "You want to come help and learn?" And I go, "No, I'm going to play baseball and not have grease under my fingernails." All right. So now go ahead 50 years. All right. I'm on the farm. My tractor won't start. I call up my dad and say, "Hey, Dad, come on over and fix my tractor." And he goes, "Oh, so you don't have any grease under your fingernails?" He waited 50 years.
Held that in his holster, didn't he?
He waited 50 years to throw that back in my
Wow.
face.
Oh,
Which is great.
I appreciate that. But no, I even told Sheldon after that live chat we had with you. We had so much fun on it. I think I texted Sheldon right afterwards. I said, "I'm ready to go again." I said, this is just, it was brought back something that I lost along the way.
I'm happy.
And I made that video a lot of people talk about where we discussed, you know, how to build a black powder channel. And that was, and that is not being dramatic, but that was a time whenever it was just like we had gotten really big pretty quick, and we didn't know how to handle it. We didn't know how to handle the entire thing. We didn't know. And, you know, we were trying to be we took ourselves very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned since then, have a laugh at yourself. Go tongue in cheek a little bit, you know. And when I picked up Noah into this, that's when he started coming up with the idea of, and it was a lot to do to him. Let's have a funny intros. And I noticed people really like those when we do a different intro that's a little bit of comedy. Especially when he goes, "You get in the water, I'll film you." Okay.
Well, you found that fun.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's great. I mean, that's great. No, you know, it's a hobby for me, and it's fun, and I'd love to see. My little part of this, and you do it too, and others do it too. My little part of this is how can we make this hobby something people want to join?
Yeah,
you know, so that long after I'm done, that's still going, right? Somebody's going to have use for my collection someday because they want to shoot it, not because they want to look at it. So you know, and so I'm just for me, it's just about. I'm glad it's coming through because it's just about having fun. Hey, Michael Brackett, you guys can answer. Hey, just for giggles, for video proof, would fanning a cap gun with no cap jams prove anything?
I don't know if you could fan an original without just kicking the barrel straight up in the air, or a double spring. The hammers are just too heavy. Or
you have good
give me this wrong too. I've handled original single action armies. I don't think I could fan an early original single action army because the springs were. The original single action army had an internal prime cartridge for the most part. Most people were shooting, so they had these extremely heavy hammers in those, just as heavy as the 60 armies, because you had to drive the firing pin hard enough to dent not only the back of the case, but go into the center firing pin or firing primer, but it was inside the cartridge. So they had to hit really, really hard. And I've tried it a few times, and I just, for the life of me, honestly can't keep an original on target in any way trying to fan. It just lifts the barrel when you try to cock the hammer.
Well, it's cool looking. I mean, you know, if you could do that, Michael, I would say that, yeah, that would be pretty impressive because you're throwing one right after another. Those caps got to go somewhere. But like he said, it seems to me it'd need a pretty light spring, right? Or you talk about damaging parts, you damage your hand.
Yeah. Or try to do it with a 72 open top with the hook firing pin on it.
Hey.
I've done that before and looked down and realized then there's nothing left of my palm.
And JG Six Gun says his entire channel is just filming me enjoying my hobbies. And that's why that's what I noticed first time I watched you, Josh, was you're just having a good time, man.
I liked his video about shooting the Davy Crockett style target.
Yep.
He did. I really enjoyed that.
Yep. So let's do that. Let's just have some fun. I mean, there's times to be serious. Don't get me wrong. Right. I mean, you know, there's being serious, I think, and then there's taking yourself serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think those are two huge different things, right?
Maybe I'm getting older, but I've realized that none of us are good enough to be taken really serious. I mean, like what we're doing, we're not making History Channel documentaries here.
No,
we're just having fun shooting and hopefully entertaining and teaching some people along the way.
That's right. We teach something along the way. We entertain. Maybe we get lucky in some videos and we do both at the same time. But it's just you know, it's just fun. And my goal, Garrett and Sheldon, is I don't want to burn out.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and if I'm not having fun, I'm burning. I quit. You know, I'll go do something else. And there may be some people out there that wish I would, but that's okay. But that's okay too, because I ain't going anywhere unless something happens to me, and we're hoping that's not going to happen again. So
that's like what Garrett was saying. Since COVID, like, you know, both of your channels got really popular, and I like watching both of them because they're just laid back. You have fun, you know. So Garrett, you know, take a dive in the river.
I loved it. Garrett, I gotta say, Sheldon, if I could interrupt, when you did your dance at the end of the Dance Brothers video, I said to myself, now there's a man having a good time.
Well, what you didn't know was behind the scenes the whole time we were, and I had to edit a bunch of it because Noah just whistles all the time. He's just always whistling something. and he was whistling that song. I can't remember who wrote it, but the Dubliners sing it, the Lord of the Dance, 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 wherever you may be. And he just kept whistling that, and I was just like, it was so stuck in my head by the end. I said, well, come on, Noah, dance, dance. He wouldn't dance.
He wouldn't dance.
The only difference that having a camera on all the time is I don't listen to music anymore when I shoot, because it would be, it's, you know, I don't turn, I have my phone and I would always put on my little playlist, and that was part of the relaxation of it all. But that's all right. I can live without that.
I kind of, for a while there on 11 Bang Bang, when I was doing my best shooting, I would use my earbuds as hearing protection. I know some people absolutely hate that, and they say that's what. So what I would do, like when I would do my best shooting, like when I was really serious about, for instance, the 72 open top, I don't know if I did it for the 350-yard shot, but when I would settle in, I would put Coulter Wall. I don't know if you ever listened to Coulter Wall. I would listen to him. He would sing songs. He had one called Bald Butte, just 19th century centric songs that would just set you in there. And when I do my best shooting on camera, I would have those, even if I was dressed, I would have those earphones in listening to Coulter Wall as I was shooting. And I literally shot better with music in my ears.
Right. Oh yeah. I think it would, what I'd have trouble with is I always forget my earplugs because I can't tell if I'm yelling or screaming when I'm talking. So I try to take one of them away from the gun out, and then I forget to put it back in. You know what I mean? So it's like, because I want to know that I'm not blowing people away yelling into the microphone.
Yeah.
But I have a loud voice anyway. So
a lot of times,
guys, go ahead.
I have like very small ear protection that you can't see, usually a very small.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll wear that. The one time I forgot it the other day was with the Spiller and Burr. I don't know what it is, but the Spiller and Burr is somehow designed to be the loudest little firecracker. I mean, my ear was ringing, and I was like, wow, this is insane. And I asked Noah, I said, is this louder than other 36s? And he said, yeah. And I don't know why, but that little thing is just a firecracker of a loud pistol. I don't know if you've ever noticed that or not, but man.
It's been a while since I shot it, but I do have to tell you that seeing you and Jake shoot it makes me want to get it out again. But since you guys have gone back to back, I'm going to wait a month.
He told me he was going to do it. He called me up, or he texted me. He goes, I found my Spiller and Burr in the closet. I've never shot it. I'm going to make a video, and I'm literally sitting here cleaning this one I just dug out. Tomorrow I'm making a video too. Are you releasing it this week? Yeah. I said, okay, good. I'll release mine after yours and ride your coattails.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought. I'll wait about 3 weeks, and then I'll reference your videos. Well, guys, this was fun, man. We're over 2 hours.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you guys got coming up? Anything you want to advertise?
You playing any video games, Sheldon?
I haven't played any video games in a while.
No. On Smoke in the Woods, if I get it out, I'm working hard on that. I got part of it done. I'm trying to do a video on changes of the Springfield trapdoor this weekend for the 150th anniversary of Little Bighorn.
Oh.
After that, I have a 4th of July video in the works. And like I said, Noah and I are taking off to the mountains here in 10 days. So hopefully we'll be doing some fur trade era stuff up there, doing some fishing and get some videos out when we're up there of that style of, for going back to the flintlock style stuff.
I love your outdoor. You've really inspired me with some of your intros and some of the stuff you do outside, telling little stories with the date that, somewhere in 1848. I love that stuff. You've inspired me to try to figure out ways to do that without looking like I'm just copying it.
So that's kind of going back to what you were doing off the bat, because you used to always be a very serious intro, follow the analytics, get to the guns, get to the shooting, keep people for that first 30 seconds. I don't care anymore. It's like we're out there having fun now. And like I said, I credit you a lot with that. And
thanks.
And I do appreciate people noticing. I notice people really do like when I have time to do one of those intros. And man, we just have fun shooting them too.
Well, they're fun, and I sit. My wife thinks I've lost it because I'll have a bunch of footage, and I'll just be in here laughing, right, and it's like, "Oh, I can't put that in the video." you know, a lot of it ends up on the cutting room floor because I get to saying things I wish I hadn't. But
Yeah.
but,
I was trying to come up with a funny way to do a little Bighorn intro, and I just don't think I got it in me.
yeah, comedy's
What you
that's
do,
kind
what
of a
you do,
hard one.
Garrett, is
I would
you,
I knew Sheldon would have an answer.
what you do is you find some tall prairie grass in your area, and just crawl up and dust yourself off,
And die.
just like, and just say, "Well, that worked," and just walk away.
You just walk away.
Just walk away.
Hey, big camp. Let's go home.
Yep. Oh man, we didn't bring enough people.
Yeah, let's go home.
So one of the things I don't know if I mentioned this to you. You know that famous scene in the Fistful of Dollars where Clint Eastwood is confronting the guys about making fun of his mule.
Yeah.
Well, I have a mule. It's kind of a dumb face. So I'm thinking of recreating that dialogue, and every so often just showing a close up of my mule's face looking around.
Yeah,
You know,
I just think it's hilarious. That's such a great famous line, and he's not even riding a mule when he rides into town.
I know it. But I have one, so I thought, if I could get it to stick its tongue out or something,
Yeah,
I mean, I'll just stand there and keep taking pictures of it until it smiles or sticks its tongue out or something.
you have to get a cheap hat and do like watch The Searchers where Mose has that sombrero for his mule. He cuts the holes in it for the ears and just puts the sombrero on his mule.
Oh God! Or I'm going to put a GoPro on one of them and let them run around with it.
There you go.
That'd be kind of fun too.
Cameraman for a day.
That's exactly right. Well, guys, one of these days, what we're going to have to do is come back and I'd love to have that video you made a few years ago or a couple years ago about making YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I watched that 3 times that night. Because I was fairly fresh then, you know what I mean? So I'm still taking in everything I can get. But I think we ought to talk about this whole enterprise one of these days and have a conversation about that and bring in some other folks that are doing it and talk about this whole thing, because it's kind of fun, but it's also a challenge and it's also kind of weird. So
yeah.
It's really weird. It's almost absurd sometimes, but nonetheless,
that would be great, because I mean, I like that video too. I've told people I wouldn't change that video, but I would definitely add to it now. As the Leonard Skinner used to say, 10 years older or 10 pounds heavier, 10 years smarter. A few pounds heavier, a few years smarter. I got a few more things I would add to it now, mostly just being have fun with it.
Sure.
Don't drive yourself crazy.
Well, you can drive yourself crazy with this stuff, whether it's shooting and all the technical stuff that goes with that, even if you're not doing videos. Or I can sit and stare at a video and watch it over and over and over and over and over again, get pissed off about little things that aren't just right. And then I realized that it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to even, if it's beyond halfway through the video, people aren't even watching then anyway. So it's like,
it's just have fun with it, man.
That's right.
You're documenting yourself, something you can go back, your kids, your grandkids, anybody can go back. You don't want your kids or your grandkids going back and watching these videos and telling people, well, that's not the person I knew, this serious, Be yourself. Right. Be yourself, because you're literally documenting your life when you're doing this weekly. So, that's all I can say.
Sheldon, what do you got coming up? Anything?
Trip to Japan?
No, it's not going to happen for a while. Garrett just needs to go to Japan. Just say, never mind the Rocky Mountains. They're not going anywhere.
That's all the further west I go, brother.
Yeah, I don't fly anymore, so I have to be able to drive. When I used to go overseas, I had a couple of near misses in small countries that didn't have maintenance budgets for their airlines. I'm over it. So if I'm going somewhere, I'm driving.
Well, the first time I ever got on a plane was to go to Japan. So,
yeah, that'd be a tough one to drive to.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
Long drive, I would guess. Long drive.
Oh,
before we go,
I was telling Jay earlier and I kind of talked about earlier in the live stream about that Pawnee Lakota fight, like that 1-on-1. And the end of it says, it's all kind of paraphrased from what what got passed down. Was the Pawnee supposedly used his, the butt of the grip of his Navy, basically, is kind of violent, sorry, but to smash the face of the Lakota. And I was like, it made me wonder, let me buy one of those ballistic dummy heads and see if that works. But the only thing I'm missing is the adrenaline.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here laughing because, that was one of those audio messages you sent me. I'm sitting here laughing because he tells me this whole story about this Pawnee beating up this Lakota, and then at the very end, he's like, "You think this is exaggerated to make the Pawnee look?" Something like that.
Because every story in that book, anytime it's a Pawnee versus Lakota, is we killed them, we did this, we whipped them, and I was like, I don't know, we chased your butts down to Oklahoma after
so. And then they just turn around, Lakota just turn around and say, clear your throat, say, "Little Bighorn."
Yeah, Little Bighorn.
But it's like,
that's a mic drop deal. If they had mics, Little Bighorn would be the mic drop.
I was telling Jay, I think I'm being a little biased because I'm Lakota. So
that's all right. You're Lakota. You have the right to.
Yep. I just thought that was so funny. It tells this awesome story, and then at the end, he's like, "I think this book is biased because the Pawnee always win."
And the only time the Pawnees lost in that was when a bunch of Kansas ranchers killed them because they thought they were doing something bad.
No, I can't take any. I wasn't involved. I wasn't there.
But it's like, it's a good book. But yeah, it's like but from the Pawnee Scouts did do a lot of,
So before we go, Jay, I have to ask: are you getting it? Have you got a chance to read Half Breed yet?
I'm getting into it. So I the way I do this, Garrett, is I read about 3 things at once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've got that. I've got the one about the cavalry soldier life during the Indian Wars.
Is that 40 miles a day?
40 miles in a day and on beans and hay. And I've got and I'm also reading. I got a couple of books on the Colts that I'm reading at the same time. So I'm getting in there. I'm about 100 pages in. But it's good. So I'm gonna probably have to put one of them down because
I'm
they're
the
both
same
really
way.
big, thick books.
I'm the same way because I started Half Breed, and Sheldon and I, we both bought at the same time because a lot of times we studied it that way. We bounce off the things we took from the book off each other. So I start reading it. I'm like, man, this is a great book because I'm all into the medicine arrows part of the book. And he's like, oh, okay, I got to read it. And then pretty soon he's reading it. And then pretty soon he's ahead of me. And then pretty soon he's done. And I'm like, man, I started 3 weeks ahead of you. And I finished the book like 6 months after he started. So.
Nope, I'm always reading something. So I'm not always remembering it anymore. I'm getting old, but I'm always reading it anyway. So no. And then I got that book at my trailer that I put pictures up of called The Gunfighter, Joe Rosa, The Gunfighter, which I think is it explains the whole, I don't know if you've seen that book before, but it explains the whole idea of where that came from in culture. And, I think that's fantastic. So
I have not read it, but I saw your picture of it. And all I could think was it looked like Gregory Peck from The Gunfighter on the front. It was very interesting character.
Yeah. And I think that artwork looks like the old Wild Wild West intro, when they, on television, right, where they had that sort of funky looking art. So
yeah, that and High Chaparral both had it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll get back together and talk about Half Breed. I'm going to do that because that's going to be a good one. And I picked it up because of you. I mean, you were the one that showed it, and I said I got to get that. I think I ordered it while your video was on.
Oh, well, that's good. I appreciate that. I take all that book learning back to Duke. I know we're about to go. One thing I wanted to say was somebody asked up there if Noah was my brother, my nephew. He's my little brother. He's 15 years younger than me. Mom says he snuck up on him. But that's just why he's such a joy to be around. He hasn't let the weight of the world spoil him yet. Let's put it that way, or bring him down. So everything's a joke. Everything's fun.
I love hearing him talk. That I would imagine it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. One quick story about him before we go. We were doing an event And I think it was actually in that video I put a clip of it where there was a tornado that went south of us that time, and it took the tents away, everything. Duke, my brother Ethan, they'd all quit the night before. Noah and I were determined to stay, but the ground turned into mud and the spikes just couldn't hold the tent anymore, the tent stakes. And when that took out in the downpour, the only thing left standing was Sheldon's teepee. And so Noah and Sheldon and I in there, because it has big stakes. So the next day, there's a fort building down the way a little bit, a quartermaster shop, an original fort quartermaster shop. Ethan and Duke are staying in there. Well, we're in there trying to dry our clothes, and I see Noah walk by whistling. Now, Noah never moves faster than about a half a mile an hour when he's walking. If you just know Noah, he just does not go fast. I look out the window, and I see the streak of light go by, and I thought, what in the world? It's Noah. He's been in this felt hat, this wool felt hat for like 4 days, 3-4 days that has just melted. Like it almost just looked like a sock on his head now at this point. All these wool clothes are soaked. He's barefoot because his socks are dry and he's been inside. And he's just going by. And I look out and I hear him saying, Sheldon! And that teepee's starting to go. Sheldon's asleep inside of it. Noah covered about 300 yards. I kid you not, less than 5 seconds or 10 seconds. He's sitting on the teepee holding the stakes down saying, Sheldon! Sheldon! He's holding this down. This teepee's starting to go. He held that teepee long enough for everybody to get there and restake it, and the teepee never went down.
Oh, that's great.
I'll never forget seeing Noah, who never moves at all, like when he's walking, just I was like, wow. I swear there was a soaking wet ball of wool went running by that window.
What was that ball of wool? Right. Oh, that's great, man.
I'm a heavy sleeper.
Well, thanks, guys. This was again, like last time, a really good gathering, and I think it was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you. And we'll do it again. We will do it again in some ways soon, hopefully. I wish you both luck. We'll be in touch, Garrett and Sheldon. We'll stay in touch, and thanks a lot for coming. And thanks a lot to all of you who are out there for coming. There's 22 of you. People like it. They're staying. The number hasn't changed. People have been sticking around. So I thank you guys, man.
I appreciate you having us. I told Sheldon I've been looking forward to this for a week because I knew it was going to be fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. We'll do it again, fellas. Yeah. We'll do it again. All right, everybody. Have a good day. We'll see you again on down the road the next time.